Karen Straughan made a couple of really good videos called The Quandary of Consent. In these videos, she talked about the romance novel tropes as well as real life situations where the man rapes the woman and the woman decides retroactively whether it was rape or not. So the scene would be the man shows up, he's big and strong, he pins down the woman, rips off her clothes and has his way with her. And the woman gets raped, but she loves it so much and she has just the most, mind-blowing orgasm, the best sex she's ever had. And then retroactively, maybe the next day, depending on whether she liked it or not, she will choose whether or not it's rape. If it's rape, she'll press rape charges and so on and so forth. If it's not, she might fall in love with this big strong man, this aggressive dominating man. And she talks about real life situations where a woman falls in love with a rapist and ends up marrying him, and they live happily ever after. And this really reminds me of the rape scene in The Fountainhead by Ayn Rand. So just to quickly summarize, Howard Rourke and Dominique Franken meet. And they have a few scenes where there's a lot of sexual tension. And then at one point, Dominique asks Rourke to basically fix her broken marble fireplace. And I think she breaks it on purpose or some nonsense like that to get an excuse for him to come over and fix this broken fireplace. And Howard Rourke, he takes out the broken fireplace and he puts in an order for a new piece of marble. And when the order comes, he's supposed to set the marble and repair the fireplace. But when the order comes, this other man shows up. This short, squat, unattractive man shows up and sets in the new piece of marble. And Dominique is pissed because she's obviously attracted to him and she wanted him to show up and fix the fireplace. So the next time they meet, Dominique takes something, either a tree branch or a stick or something, and she whacks him across the face with this tree branch. And then the next scene is late at night. Howard Rourke breaks into Dominique's bedroom. He literally breaks and enters, rapes her, the whole thing. It's a hot, steamy scene. He pins her down, rips off her clothes. She punches him, she kicks him, she scratches him, she resists. He doesn't care. He overpowers her and rapes her, and she has this mind-blowing orgasm, and she loves it. And then when he's done, he just puts on his clothes and just walks out the door. Or climbs out the window or whatever. So that's the rape scene. And these rape scenes are really, really not good for men. These really screw men over because it just shows, as Karen Straughan said, women, the whole thing of consent is really ambiguous. And it reminds me of a personal story that I have. I dated this Polish girl, and she was in my apartment, on my couch, naked, completely naked. She had her legs open, and she was playing with herself. And she let me play with her as well. So I'm fingering her, and I'm playing with her and whatnot. And I reach over to grab a condom, and I start putting the condom on. And when she sees it, she freaks out. And she's like, "Oh, no, we can't have sex. What are you doing? No, we can't do that." So I put the condom away, and I go back to, fingering her or whatever. She likes it. She's playing with herself, and she's letting me play with her. And after a while, I think, okay, maybe now she's ready. Okay? I mean, she's very wet at this point. Excuse the vulgar language, but, it's relevant. So I reach for the condom a second time, and the exact same thing happens. Oh, no, we can't have sex. No, we can't do that. And it's like, this is the kind of bullshit, behavior that women engage in. And at one point, I just get pissed. And I just pin her down, and I ask her, I'm like, hey, are you just saying this, or you really mean it? And then she's like, oh, no, I really mean it. We can't we can't do that. No. And so I don't do anything. I just let her go. I just let her leave. Now, Karen Straughan also talks about how women will offer token resistances. So a woman will resist, but she wants you to overcome her resistance. So if she resists and you back off, then she'll be disappointed. She'll think, oh, you're a weak man. You're not as strong a man as I thought you were. You're not as dominant as I thought you were. I'm disappointed. I thought you were a big, strong man. But if you don't back off and if you keep pushing, you might be viewed as a rapist or a creep or a harasser. Why are you harassing her? She obviously doesn't want it. Why are you sexually harassing her? Right? So in this situation with the Polish girl, she was very horny. She was very wet. I could have just went ahead and penetrated her, and there was a good chance she would have had an amazing orgasm and loved it, and we would have a great relationship together. Or she could have said, hey, you've raped me. I'm going to call the police. I'm going to make rape charges, and my life would be ruined. So I played it safe. I didn't do anything. But this is the position men are in. And if you're a pickup artist, they even have a word for this. They even have an acronym for this. LMR, last minute resistance. And there's supposed to be these techniques of how you overcome last minute resistance, and PUAs give each other advice on how to avoid rape allegations and rape cases. And it's just like, what is this? Men are supposed to deal with this? What kind of rational, self-respecting man wants to deal with this kind of situation? And Karen Straughan talks about how some women want to have sex, but they don't want to be viewed as sluts. And so they'll actually drink themselves so that they get drunk enough so that they consent. Because if they're sober, they won't consent. You see how messed up it is? So if she purposely gets drunk so she can have sex, does that mean she got raped? Because she can't consent because she's drunk. Supposedly a drunk person can't consent. So did she rape herself? Did he rape her? I've been in situations where a woman has a few drinks and later that night we have sex. So am I a rapist? Maybe I'm a rapist. I don't know. Are you a rapist? You could be. I have no idea. But maybe she sobered up before we had sex. Okay, then we're in the clear. Whew, we're in the clear. You see how messed up this whole thing is? And just to bring it back to Ayn Rand's The Fountainhead, if you ask Ayn Rand about this, she'll say it's not rape because she consented. And Karen Straughan talks about these situations where the woman will consent in the privacy of her own mind, but never bother to tell the man. So that's essentially what happened in Dominique's case with Dominique and Rourke. So objectively, Rourke was a rapist. He didn't know she consented. Now people will say, she struck him across the face because she was so angry that he didn't show up. And that's, Ayn Rand, I believe, called that an engraved invitation. She claimed that was the equivalent of her handing him an invitation to have sex. Now that's pretty. I mean, come on. What kind of rational person would buy this? If a woman hits me across the face with a tree branch, I would interpret that as stay the hell away from me. You know? I wouldn't, how are you supposed to interpret that? And what it comes down to is the Fountainhead is just a novel. So you can say, oh, well, Ayn Rand took literary liberties. It's just a novel. You can't interpret it, literally. But this happens in real life. Women fall in love with their rapists. This happens in real life. Women offer token resistances. So the whole idea that, oh, if it's rape if she didn't consent, and it's okay if she consented, that's an overly simplistic view. And that's not at all what happens in real life situations.